So tomorrow we will discuss. Sorry, today is our class. Up to now we have finished upload Excel upload, right? So cost center splitting structure we need to do. This is important concept. No? Cost center splitting is very important concept. How you want to split the cost between activities? That is what we are defining in this cost center splitting structure. So earlier sessions we have done some activities and cost elements. Now assume we have already created three activities: setup activity, machine activity, machine activity, labor activity. Assume there are three activities there: setup activity, machine activity, cleaning activity, labor activity. For these three activities, assume in a particular cost center we are having different cost elements. So whatever the cost elements in the cost center report, you can check for any cost element, cost center, what are the cost elements available to do planning. We'll check once. Controlling area is W124. So we are having these cost elements: 400, 200, 400, 300, 301, 302, 303. Is it 400, 200, 400, 300, 400, 301, 400, 302. 400, 303. Here so we are having these cost elements in one particular cost center. So for this cost element, we have done some planning. We have planned with these values. For one cost center, we have done planning like this. So these are our cost elements. These are our values, amounts, right? Now, we don't have any rules here. If any cost center, these cost elements are there, you are planning to spend these cost elements cost. How it will split between the activities? If there is no rules, as in there are separately planning these cost. There is no relationship between this cost and activities. There is no relationship between this cost and activities. Then it will split equally. The basic rule is we are having three activities. So whatever you have spent, 6 lakh by 3. There is no specific rules. So the cost you are spending will be splitted between these three activities. Cost splitted between cost planned whatever you have done. It will split between the activities equally. Assume one cost center, we have done planning like this. So these cost, it will split between the activities. As we are having 3 activities, so it will split between the activities like this. So here is the total it will display. So what is the total activity cost then? 8 lakh is total activity cost. Here also 8 lakh. Equally, no? By 3 means 8 lakh, 8 lakh, 8 lakh. Here also 8 lakh. This is total activity cost. Any particular cost center, if there is no rules, there is no relationship, manually what we have not maintained anything, then the cost will split between the activities equally. This is activity cost. Assume in this cost center, we are doing activity hours also. Assume here 200 hours, 400 hours, then 300 hours. Assume in this particular cost center, we have planned the activity hours like this. Then activity price per hour. Activity price per hour will be this divided by this. Total cost divided by number of hours. Total cost divided by number of hours. This is activity price per hour, how the system will calculate. This is in case of activity independent planning. In case of activity independent planning, the system will calculate the activity price per hour in one cost center. Whatever the cost have posted, first we will do KP06 here. This is activity independent planning. In case of activity independent planning, we will do KP06 first. Later KP26 here. Okay. When we are doing KP26, there is no reference to cost. Individually for the same cost center, we will do KP06 first, KP26 later. Then if we are doing KSS4, KSS4 is to calculate the cost. This is KSS4 is activity cost. We will get here activity cost. We get here activity cost. All the cost will split between 3 activities equally. Later, activity price per hour. Transaction code KSP. This is what we are doing. In case of activity independent planning, first we have to do KP06, later KP26. For this cost center, you want to know the activity cost, then we have to do KSS4. When we are doing KSS4, the cost will split between the activities equally. We will get the activity cost. So in this particular cost center, we know activity cost, we know activity hours. Then we can get activity price per hour if you do KSPI. This is without any rules, without any splitting rules. There is no specific splitting rule. Then all the cost will split between the activities equally. Right? This is the basic method. Now, for the same thing, just for basic understanding, I have given this one. Now, for the same thing, assume you are defining some splitting rules. Now you are defining some splitting rule. Here the splitting rule is, just deleting these things. Now the splitting rule is, these two cost elements, I want to split between labor and setup. This is one splitting rule I am defining. As per client requirement, we will define. Assumption is here. I am spending this 400, 200, 400, 300 cost elements only for setup activity and labor activity. Right? This rule we are defining. Assumption is I am spending 400, 200 and 400, 300 expenditures only related to setup activity and labor activity. Then these two cost elements will split between these two activities. This is one rule. In which ratio? In this ratio, 2:3. We are having 200 hours in this particular cost center setup activity hours, 300 labor activity hours. 200 setup activity hours, 300 labor activity hours. Then 6 lakh into 2 divided by 5. 2:3. 2 divided by 5. This 6 lakh will split between this setup and labor activity in 2:3 ratio. Here 6 lakh into 3 divided by 5. Enter. Okay. So same way you can drag the formula. Another cost elements also same rule. 2:3 ratio. These two costs we are spending between these two activities. It will split between these activities in 2:3 ratio. This is how the values will calculate. Now assume this particular cost element you are spending only for machine activity. This is another rule. One rule is over. As per this rule, it is splitting. Assume this cost element, this 400,301 cost you are spending only for machine activity. This is another rule. Then this 4 lakh directly will be using for only for machine activity. This 4 lakh we are using only for machine activity. Right? This is another splitting rule. Like this with the different combinations as per client requirement, we can define any splitting rules. Up to now, I am using only two splitting rules. Now assume this particular cost you don't want to split between any activities. We are specifically mentioning that this particular cost is nowhere related to any activity. Then It will not split between any activities. This particular cost, it will display separately. This particular cost, it will display separately. It will not split between any activity. Assumption is this particular cost does not belongs to any activity. Then this particular cost will not be splitted between activities. Assume this cost element 6 lakh. You are not maintaining under any splitting rule. Assume this 6 lakh you are not maintaining under any splitting rule. Then as per our above scenario, as we have taken this example, if you are not maintained under any splitting rule, then it will split between these three activities equally. Three activities are there in this particular cost center, so it will split between these three activities equally. Like this, you can define different splitting rules as per our client requirement with the different combinations. I have taken few examples here. Now you can get the total value here. Total value. So as per splitting rule, the cost will be split between the activities. If you execute KSS4 is transaction code. KSS4 is used to calculate activity cost. What is setup activity? What is machine activity? What is labor activities? As per our splitting rule, where we are maintaining splitting rule? Splitting rule we will maintain in splitting structure. Splitting structure. So here we are going to define splitting structure, cost center splitting structure. Under this splitting structure, we are going to define the splitting rules, whether it is we are splitting or not. So under the splitting rules, we are assigning these cost elements with the different combinations and assignments we are doing these cost elements. Few cost we will assign between these setup and labor. Few cost we can assign to only machine. Few cost can be assigned to setup and machine. Few cost can be assigned to machine and labor. With the different combinations, you can define n number of splitting methods. Few cost you don't want to split between any activities. Few cost you can leave it, so that will split equally. So the basic rules how the cost will be split between the activities. If you perform KSS4 as per the splitting structure, splitting rules and assignments, the system will calculate this activity cost. So this activity hours we know through KP26. So this KSPI will come activity cost divided by number of hours. Here 3200, here 1500, here 286. Like this we will get. Right? So this is what the importance of calculation. Simple way of understanding. Assumption is these costs are spending for these activities. Purpose: if these costs are spending for these activities, we are defining different rules. We are assigning those costs into different splitting rules. That's what we are defining. First we are defining one splitting structure, then cost center splitting, OKES. Go to OKES. Already 1 to 4 cost centers we have used. Now I will do 5 cost center. 1124 transaction code is OKES. OKES is we are defining one splitting structure. Click on this splitting rule first, structure later. Click on this splitting rules rule folder. Click on new entries. Click on new entries. Give the rule. So double one splitting rule 1124. Method is SAP has given on what basis you want to split. On activity quantities, activity hours. The method we have to select SAP defined method is there. 12 number 12 is on the basis of activity quantities we have to select. Select 12. 12 means activity quantity. On this basis we are splitting. Next I will define 24. No splitting. If you don't want to split anything, then under this method no splitting is 0. 0 means no splitting. 1 is 12. If you are splitting, that may be any splitting either between any activities or equally or only for specific activity, that all comes under splitting only. Another one is no splitting, that is 0. Click on save. 11 is splitting rule, another one is no splitting. Splitting rule is on the basis of activities, 12 is the method, another one is 0, that is no splitting. Right? Now we are going to prepare one splitting structure then. Click on splitting structure now. Click on new entries. Only 2 digit. So the splitting structure depends on the name or number availability. So you can define. Okay, yes. A1 is there. I will create B1 then. Any name or number you will give. I will create B1. I don't know. Splitting structure 1124. Give the name. Splitting structure 1124. Select the splitting structure. Click on assignments. Click on new entries. Here we are defining different assignments. The first assignment, creating, as per our example I will take up on. Only these groups only I will take up. Setup and labor as one group. Okay. Setup plus easy to understand and writing. Give any name. Setup and label. Setup and label. Rule is under splitting. Rule is splitting method, that is 11. 11. Splitting rule. Next assignment I will give only machine. As per our example, only machine. This one is also under splitting rule. Third one is no splitting. This one is method is 24. Only 3 assignments we are using. Few cost elements I will split by using setup plus label. Few cost elements machine. Few cost element under no splitting. As per our example, I am considering. Like this, with the different combinations, you can define the n number of assignments. The different combinations, you can define n number of assignments. Click on save. Click on save. So after that, one by one we have to select and we have to assign the cost elements. First select first row here, assignment 1. Under this assignment 1, which cost element you want to split between setup and labor, that you have to enter here. Select the first assignment. Click on selection of assignment. Click on new entries. Here the cost element you can give from and to range, or you can create a group. Then you can assign here. As per our example, I am taking 400, 200 plus 400, 300 as one group. These two only I want to split between setup and labor. So for these two, I want to create one group. Here itself you can create a group, or in a new window, cost element group KAH1 is a transaction code, or here itself you can create a group. This is setup and labor, right? Okay. Split 1. Splitting structure purpose. Split 1 cost element group. You can give any name. Split 1 cost element group. I am giving some name. Place the cursor. Go to extras. Here we can create a group. Here itself you can create a group, or you can go to new window and there you can create KAH1, and that group by clicking on F4 you can assign here. Either way you can do. I am creating here itself. Click on create. Here setup and labor cost element group. Place the cursor, click on insert cost element. As per our example, 400, 200 and 400, 300. These two cost elements I am grouping. Wages and salaries, assume I am spending only for setup activity and labor activity. For that, I have created a cost element group here itself. So this cost I want to split between setup and labor. That is also activity group. I have to create an activity group. Activity group. One activity group for splitting purpose. Any name you can give. Activity split 1. I am giving some name. Activity split 1. The group here itself you can create, or you can open a new window, or you can create in KLH1. KLH1 is a transaction code. There also you can do. Place the cursor, go to extras, Click on create a group. Here, activity group splitting purpose. One activity group we are creating. Under this activity group, what are the activities? First one and last one. First one and last one. Setup plus label. 112401 and 112403. These two activities we are creating under one group. Click on save. Click on back arrow. If you click on back arrow, initially this activity group will not display. Again click on back arrow, then only it will display. Split 1, cast element 2. So one rule we have defined. This is the rule we have to do. The rule we have to do. Now you can click on save. This one is over. Next assignment. Go to assignment folder. Second one, machine. Select the second one, machine. Click on assignment. Click on new entries. As per our example, I will use only one cast element, 400,301. I am going to spend only for machine activity. So give 400,301. In this case, only one cast element is there, no? 400,301. No need of any group then. Only 400,301. One cast element is there. You can give only one cast element. No need of group. Then activity also machine activity only. 112402. 112402. Here also activity group is not required. Only one cast element and one activity. So you can give from and to. If you want to assign to more than one, then you can create a group. If the cast elements are sequential in number, you can give from and to itself, not a problem. Need not to create a group. You can give from and to plus one activity. Click on save. Second assignment is over. Third assignment is no splitting. Select this no splitting. Click on selection of assignment. Click on new entries. As per our example, this 400,302, you don't want to split between this any activity. Don't want to split between any activity. Then you can give here cast element. Then activity not required, because this particular cast element we don't want to split between any activity. So activity is not required. Then click on save. Activity is not required. Click on save. So with this we have created a structure. For that we have assigned few cast element. This cast element, it is not there under any splitting rule. So it will split. It is a general rule only. It will split equally between the activities. If any cast element not maintained under any splitting rule, it will split between equally between the activities. Right? So we have maintained one splitting structure. The splitting structure name is B1. Right? Now this splitting structure we need to assign to our cost center. Before doing that, case S4 we can do. Now we will do planning first in a cost center. If you want to do planning, you can directly do KP06 by SAP define layout, or you can also use our own layout for KP06. As we already learned how to prepare an Excel sheet, how to upload. For the same layout, you can deactivate this integrated Excel and you can use for manual upload purpose also, manual planning purpose also. You can use your layout. Now we will go to KP34 and I will deactivate. Go to KP34. If you deselect that integrated Excel, then the system will not go to Excel sheet. We can use for manual planning also. Select this cost element or activity, first planning area. Click on layout. Here you can observe there is an integrated Excel is there now. For this CEP 1124, integrated Excel is there. This if you deselect, then if you are using for planning, it will not go to Excel sheet. So just like SAP defined layout, we can use in manual planning also. I have deselected this one. Next, we will go to KP06. First, we will do planning by using our own layout CEP 1124. KP06. This is not our layout. Now we will set our planner profile first. Our planner profile is 1124. Enter. You can observe. Now we are in CGP 1124. Now as we have deactivated that Excel planning, it will not go to Excel sheet. It will go to the next layer. Normal. How we are using it. SAP planner profile or planning area. So I will use the new cost center, a fresh cost center 1124005. Assume give all the cost elements one to all. Select form based. Give the fresh cost center. I am using all the cost elements normal. Only the layout is different. Remaining things are same. KP06. Select form based. Click on overview. So as per our Excel sheet example, the same values I will consider. Up to 303. Same example I am considering. So up to 303. 5 lakh, 6 lakh, 5 lakh, 4 lakh, 3 lakh, 6 lakh. Same way I am doing. Save. Right? Same planning I have done. And save. And save. This KP06 is over. Your material just maintain as do planning, so you have to enter some values. Whenever do planning is there, some values you have to enter. This you can check in the cost center. In the cost center report, it will display normally as under planned cost. That we know. Right? Same way for the same cost center, you have to do KP26 now. So this is KP26. Normally, you can use SAP defined layout or we can use our own layout. If you deactivate the integrated planning, it will not go to Excel sheet. Then you can use as a manual planning profile. Second one, cost center and activities. Second one, here also integrated planning deactivate and save. Now we can use this for our KP26 purpose. We can use this for our KP26. For the same cost center, we are doing activity planning. For the same cost center, we are doing activity planning. Cost center is 005. activity type. 1, 2, 3. All fields are common. We are using our layout, but it will not go to the Excel sheet because we have deactivated. Now, as per our Excel sheet, 200, 400, 300. These cost elements we are planning 200, 400, 300. Example. As per our example, save 200, 300, 400. Right? In these values. KP26 is also over. Now, if you check the cost center report, this cost and activities will display here in your cost center report. Cost center 5. Plan cost, plan activity. Okay, normal. Now I will assign this splitting structure to our cost center in OKEW. We have to assign this splitting structure OKEW. Splitting structure is B1. Cost center is 005. Select this cost center. Give your cost center 005. Click on change. This is your cost center. Select your cost center. Place the cursor on B1. There is a button like assign will be there. This is assign. Click on assign, then that cost center will come to your splitting structure. If you expand here, your cost center from here to here it will come. This is nothing but assignment. You are assigning cost center to the splitting structure. Right? Now we have to do this KSS4. If you do KSS4, what happens? As per our splitting structure, the cost will split between the activities like this. These two costs, you have created one row. This particular cost element, we have created one row. This one is one row, separately to display. So what are the cost not assigned under any splitting rule? It will split equally. That's what it will happen. Now you can calculate KSS4 activity cost. Give the cost center. You can remove the test run, or you can keep the test run. Later you can remove. Click on execute. Version period 1 to 12 physical areas all are common. You can observe. What is the setup activity cost? 640. Machine is 6 lakh. Labor is 860. This 3 lakh will display separately. Right? That you can compare here. 640, 6, 860, 860. This 3 lakh will display separately. Right? 640, 6, 860. 3 lakh will display separately. This will not split between any activity. You can place the cursor. Here there is a cost element level. How the values are splitted. Go to click on details. So wages is splitted between this setup and labor. 01 is setup, 03 is labor, 240, 360. Right? 240, 360. Salaries between setup and labor 2 lakh and 3 lakh. 2 lakh and 3 lakh. Machine. Rent is only for machine 4 lakh. 4 lakh. Next, this 40302, no activity. There is no activity here. It will display separately 40302. Next one 40303. It will split it equally between these two activities. 2 lakh, 2 lakh, 2 lakh, 2 lakh, 2 lakh, 2 lakh. So you will get the detailed information like this also. Right? Now we are removing the test run. We can click on execute. So it will post version. This is the activity cost. How we will get as per our splitting structure. We can split the cost between the activities as per our splitting rules. So this one is over. Activity cost we have calculated. Next we have to calculate activity price per hour. KSPA. To run this KSPA, here there is no individual cost center option is there, only group option is there. So for that purpose, first we have to create a group KSH1. I will create a group. This group is for split 1, splitting structure purpose. Split 1 CCTR, cost center group. I'm creating one group. Any name you can give, I'm just giving cost center group. Under this cost center group, I will assign 005 cost center. 005 cost center. Click on save. Under this cost center group, I will assign 005 cost center. Click on save. Now this split 1 CCTF we can use here in KSPA. Now we are doing KSPA split 1 CCTR our group. We can give version 0 from period and 2 period fiscal year 2015. I am in test run only. We can execute. So we will get this 3200, 1500, 2866. Total cost divided by number of hours. 200, 400, 300 is hours. You can observe 3200, 1500, 8000, so 2866.67. 3200, 1500, 2866.66. In this case, PA, what we are getting? We are getting activity price per hour. You can go back and you can remove the test and you can execute. Activity price per hour. Right? So after doing this activity price per hour, if you check the cost center report, the activity cost here, if you check the cost center report, this activity cost will update here in this side. You have to just refresh the page. I will go back and execute again. You can execute cost center file. You can observe activity cost will update here 646,860. Just observation. Now you can check the activity price report. KSBT. KSBT is just a report how the activity price per hour is displayed. Now you can check in the KSBT. KSBT is activity price per hour report. You can give the cost center or group also. We have already defined a group. Or you can give the cost center also, individual cost center. Activity types are 1, 2, 3. Remaining all fields are common general data selection only. Click on execute. Either you can give split 1 cost center, group or individual cost center. Activity types 1, 2, 3. Version fiscal year from period to 2 period. Click on execute. This is only the report we are getting. Here, activity price per hour it will calculate. This is price indicator is 1. 1 represent plan price indicator. Whatever we are calculated is plan price per hour only. Okay, 1 represent plan price indicator. 5 represent actual price indicator. Actual price we are calculating it when we are learning the product costing, not now. Here we are learning only plan price. So if you observe KP26, next one is KP26. If you go to overview, this plan price per hour will update. This will automatically update after running KSPI. In KP26, plan price will update. This is one observation. Right? So this is important scenario when it comes to activity price calculation. This is plan price activities calculation. Now this OKUK is at the time of creation of version, maintaining version level. Under actual price method is average price is there. So that is why we are calculating average price. OKUK. Plan price is average method, average price. Total cost divided by number of hours. Just observation only. While maintaining the version 0, there is an option like under price calculation, under plan, we are following this average price method. Just observation. This is related to the price calculation. This is one scenario how the costs are split between the activities with the help of splitting structure. Here in the single scenario only, I have taken this few cost elements are not assigned to the splitting structure. Then what happens? It will split equally. Right? All three different types I have taken in single scenario. So if we are using the volume material, that may be separately mentioned in volume material. Few cost elements are not entered in splitting rule, that I have taken separately, but we can understand with the all scenarios in one method. So this is also included. So this scenario is over. Next scenario is in case of activity dependent planning. Up to now what we have done? Activity independent planning. How you will identify whether it is activity independent planning? In case of activity independent planning, we will do KP06 first, later KP26. That is activity independent planning. In case of activity dependent planning, reverse. First we will do KP26, later KP06. That is what we are doing in the next planning. That we will continue tomorrow's session. That we will continue tomorrow's session. Any doubts in today's session?